Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the brand new All Sports WNY, or All Sports Western New York, named after the website of the same name. Bob Kaczynski, same host as last week, but a different show, different name, different set. I love the set. And we've got a special guest to kick off our inaugural All Sports WNY program, none other than running back, captain of the Buffalo Bills, Fred Jackson. Fred, thanks so much for being on the first show.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're in town, you live here, you're doing OTAs. We're taping this show on a Tuesday afternoon. Literally, he just got off the practice field. So I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
So give me your sense of, candidly, new coaching staff, new regiment. What do you think?
I love them. Love the energy that they bring. Coach Marrones is, not that Coach Gailey was, what he was doing was bad, but I'm loving what Coach Marrones is doing. High energy. Even all the coaching staff, they're all high energy. They celebrate. They not necessarily get in your faces, but they're right there telling you what you can do better, what you need to do better, what they're expecting from you, and things like that. So he's done a tremendous job, and I know everybody out there on that field, including myself, are excited to get out to the season and see what we can do.
Now, you're no rookie out there. Yeah. So you've been around the league, you've been around some coaches, and yet their enthusiasm has become infectious.
Oh, without a doubt. One of the things that, Coach Gailey really harped on was, this is a business. We have to approach it as a business and this and this and that. Not that that's wrong, but, one of the things that this coaching staff tries to preach to us is go have fun, and that's what, I'm really loving. I'm a big kid, and to get to play football for a living, is one of the best things I think you can do in the world. And to be able to have fun and do it at the same time is one of the things that I really feed off of.
Fred is a big kid. He came in tonight wearing an Incredible Hulk T-shirt that we had to change because of some lighting issues. I don't want to give away the magic of television, but I love the shirt.
Hey.
And we're both comic book fans. So, but Coach Marrones, he's coming right out of college, so you can understand why that enthusiasm would be there. And I've heard a lot of great things about Coach Hackett, the offensive coordinator. A lot of the alumni, Jim Kelly, Steve Task, and those guys, they're really impressed with Hackett and kind of what he knows at a very young age.
Yeah, Coach Hackett, is a genius. Sometimes, it takes me a second to sit back and, there was something we were talking about, protection and the way he wanted to do it, and I was seeing it a different way. And then he kind of explained to me why he wanted to do it this way, and it all made sense to me. And, even when he was here as the quality control guy, my first 3 years, he was somebody that I went to when I wasn't understanding, a certain scheme that we were trying to do. And he could tell me and walk me right through it. And, to have him back as offensive coordinator is just another blessing, because he's a guy that's going to do everything he can to utilize all the weapons that we have on this team. And I'm excited, for him to get that opportunity and for him to, exploit all the traits that we can do as individual players.
Now, no matter who came in as coach, everybody at this stage of the game would be excited. You haven't played a game yet.
Yeah.
And, of course, once the season starts and once the team, faces adversity, that's the true test of leadership, of coaching staff. Why do you think this combination of coaches might make a difference?
Because they're sick of the saying, it's the same old Bills, and they don't want to come in and be part of that. So they're going to come out and do whatever they can, to force us into getting out of that old mold, and that's one of the things, you got to love about these guys is they know what it's been like around here. Being that they were at Syracuse, we got a lot of Syracuse guys in here now. They know what it was like, for us for the past, 10 years.
Right. So,
they don't want to come in and be put into that mold. They want to come in and separate themselves from that. And, a lot of guys are buying into that. So, we're going to do whatever we can, and they're going to do whatever they can to get us out of that.
You've got a new rookie class. Again, you've seen young guys come and go. Some stick, some don't. What do you think? What's your overall impression of this group? Okay, you don't have to mention names. Yeah. First of all, give me an overall opinion without mentioning names.
I love them. They're all athletic. A lot of speed, is what I focus on.
Yeah, that jumps off the page, doesn't it?
A lot of speed. So, I'm excited about that, and it's definitely going to be some fun with us, the guys that we added on offense, and I'm looking forward to that.
What about E.J. Manuel? He's a big quarterback.
Yeah, he is. And, not only is he big, he's athletic. There's some stuff that we're doing in some schemes. You can see his athletic ability. Physical guy, a guy that can drill a ball down the field if he has to. So that's definitely needed in the weather. So I'm excited to see what he does, with him, Travaris, and Kevin, it's going to be a great competition to watch at training camp.
Now, I know from doing your show last season, you're very close personal friends with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan has left. You got a brand new quarterback, and you have a couple of veterans too. I don't want to forget the guys that Travaris Jackson was there already, though last year he didn't get to play, and Cobb is there and waiting for another opportunity. So you got some veterans, but I've been told by some of the people that have been watching practice that the E.J. Manuel's ability to throw the ball downfield without much effort is impressive.
Yeah. Definitely a big guy. Big guy, big, strong arm. It's definitely evident, in some of the balls that he throws. And like I said, I'm excited to see what he can do. I think everybody else is excited with the pick for our coaching staff to get him. They actually like something that they saw. So, like I said, with that race going into training camp, it's going to be fun to watch. And, I'm excited to see it.
Who's the fastest guy on the team right now?
You got a lot of guys that like to brag for that title, but I'm going to set something up. I'm going to, whether it be me pulling some money out of my own pocket and saying we're going to set this race up so I can see who it is. Anytime you got a guy that has the Olympic rings tattooed on his body, you got to go with him. So
that's impressive.
That's Marquis. CJ won't like me saying that just because he is in the same room, and I think he can run too. But anytime you get a guy that has those rings tattooed on his body, that's who I have to bet on.
What's with this? You got CJ, TJ, EJ.
It's getting crazy. We got TJ is in TJ Graham, and also got TJ and TJ Jackson, or Travaris Jackson. So you call them. You got EJ, CJ, and there's J's all over the place. You want to throw me in there with the FJ? At least I
was going to say maybe I should start referring to you as FJ.
So, it's fun, and you definitely get a bunch of guys turning around anytime you throw a J in there.
You basically have a relay team now.
Oh, yeah.
You got enough guys to put together 4 guys that could compete with any team, I think.
Without a doubt. And, we as running backs, we used to brag on our speed, say that we could keep up with those guys in the receiver room. And they brought Marquise in. We kind of just said, we'll give that title to you guys for now, but, we'll still run with you.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have more with Fred Jackson. We're going to talk a little bit more about Fred right after this. Don't forget, New York Yankee baseball, 7 o'clock, Subway Series, Yankees-Mets. If you're watching All Sports after the Yankees game, next game coming up will be June 18th. Back on All Sports West New York, our brand new set, Bob Kaczynski with Buffalo Bills running back and captain, Fred Jackson. And Fred, probably the most exciting thing about your season last year was the fact you got to do a show with me.
Yeah.
Because once the season started, you were plagued with injuries, and it really was not the year I know you planned.
Oh, yeah. And, it was definitely a tough year. One of those you kind of want to put behind you just because it was so injury-plagued. But, that was a good highlight of my year last year, was being on the show with you. So, hopefully.
Let me tell you something. When that's the highlight of your year,
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say it. Don't take this the wrong way. But, no, hopefully I can stay healthy. That's the number one goal. Like, if I'm healthy, I can be out there and make plays for my teammates. And, that's all I want to do.
How's the leg? Your health right now, are you 100% yet, or you think you still got some ways to go?
100% ready to go. I've been doing everything in OTAs, last week of OTAs this week with no problems, and I've been cut loose for a while now, and I haven't had any residual effects. So, hopefully we can keep it that way.
Where do you see your role on this team with this coaching staff?
I don't expect my role to change any. I see myself as a guy that can come out and make plays, whenever I'm called upon. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do with our roles. I know CJ and I are both splitting reps 50-50 right now with the one. So if that's the role that we take, we're on the field together. Something else that they're working on. But, I feel like I can still be out there and contribute and make plays whenever my number is called. So, that's what I'm expecting to do.
As one of the senior citizens on the team, but more importantly as captain, one of the captains on the team, when the young players come in and with the new coaching staff, do you mentor? How do you do it by example? How do you show leadership on this team?
Well, I think it has to be a combination of both. You can't tell somebody to do something if you're not doing it yourself. So you definitely have to lead by example. I've always been a guy that does that. But, there's times you have to step in and talk to guys and say, this is what they're expecting of you. This is what we have to do here, or whatever it may be. The coaching staff will come to you and say, hey, we need you older guys, you captains or veterans, to go in here and talk to these guys and do do this or get them to do that, whatever it may be. So I think a lot of it is going to depend on the coaching staff, which they have come to us and said, we want you veterans to lead and do this or do that. So, but I think it's a combination of both. You will have guys that just lead strictly by example. They don't say anything. If they feel like a guy needs to do something, they just go out and show him by doing it themselves.
Who do you miss the most off of last year's team?
I think you have to go with Fitz. I think Fitz was, a guy that always had something up his sleeve in the locker room. And, he was a guy that, led by doing stuff in the locker room, and guys always paid attention to what he was doing. And I'm sure he's having a great time down in Tennessee. I talked to him. He said it was the best, opportunity he could have gotten. He's excited about it.
You keep in contact?
Without a doubt. Talked to him, twice last week. So he's a guy that, I'll definitely be in contact after football. It wasn't just a football friendship. I think we'll see him sometime this summer in Arizona.
And how is the Jackson family doing? I mean, last year we got to see your kids a couple times and your lovely wife, and we saw them bowling, and we saw them at Christmas time, and we saw them go on a pizza run with you. I mean, it's a great group of kids.
It is, and it's growing. We are expecting one in September.
Oh, wow. So, this just in.
Yeah.
On All Sports Western New York. Big scoop. You're expecting another one in September.
In September, another little girl. My son wasn't happy to hear that. He wanted a little brother, but we are expecting another one, and excited about that because my kids, I think, are the best kids in the world, except for my daughters. They're handfuls, But I mean, you expect that from two little daughters when they're that close. They fight all the time, and then they love each other 10 minutes later. So it's always fun. They keep us busy.
Well, now the nice thing is you don't have a middle child. One middle child. You have two middle child.
Exactly.
Because believe me, I have three, and when you have a middle child, that's the way it works out. But wow, that's exciting news.
Yeah, it is. We're excited about it. Hopefully everything continues to progress well and with no problems.
Wow, three daughters.
I know.
Yeah. When the boys come knocking on the door, Dad.
You seen that scene from Bad Boys 2?
Yeah.
It's gonna be me and my brother.
Now, your son, he told us, your son loves football.
Yes.
I mean, you think your son loves football because you're a football player? Do you think even if you weren't a football player, he'd love it as much?
I think me playing has a lot to do with it because he gets to come and hang out in the locker room, at times. He gets my teammates come over all the time. I think he loves that part of it as well. But, I mean, he's obsessed, like borderline obsessed with it. And
when are you going to introduce him to organized football, or have you already?
This fall.
This fall.
He's playing this fall. So he's excited about that. And I keep trying to tell him, it's not always going to be easy. You're going to put pads on, you're going to get hit, and you're going to wake up the next morning and ask yourself, what am I doing? So he's still not buying it yet. But, I mean, like I said, he's borderline obsessed with it.
I think one of the worst part for youth football is those kids usually practice even after the high school kids to get access to the field. So it's dark, it's cold.
Oh, yeah. It's they told us 5 days a week, 6 o'clock, 6 to 8, and then games on Saturdays, and I was not expecting that. My chin hit the floor when they told us that. So it's going to be a lot of work. So I'm excited to see what he does, see how he feels about it. But, like I said, he's obsessed with it and can't wait.
So this is your last week of OTAs, right? And then you don't return until training camp.
So mini camp. We have.
You've got so many camps now. Mini camp is what, June?
We have OTAs the rest of this week. We're off next week. Then we come back the end of next week for mini camp, and then we come back to training camp.
So technically, this is voluntary.
Yes.
Mini camp is mandatory.
Mandatory, yep.
And that's how many days this year?
3 days. 3 days.
What do you think about the league pushing the draft back to the middle of May?
It doesn't bother me. I mean, I think it's going to be – I think the problem with that is just guys having to work out until – when they train for stuff and then have to keep working and all that before they get to do the draft. I think that can affect them a little bit.
Well, for one thing, I think the rookies will have to jump right in with the veterans. They won't have the opportunity to come in and do a rookie week as they did this year. Mm-hmm. Fred, it was great having you back in. Congratulations again on the expecting daughter in September.
Appreciate it.
So that's going to be a very interesting September for you. Beginning of the season, a new coaching staff and a new baby girl on the way.
Exactly. It's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. Looking forward to both.
Well, good luck, buddy. We'll see you throughout the summer. Great having you on the show.
It. My pleasure.
We'll give you your Hulk T-shirt back when you leave the studio. Fred Jackson, we'll be back to talk about the Eliot Apollo Scholarship right after this on All Sports Western New York. Don't forget, this Thursday, May 30th, 11 a.m., another chance to catch the Giants of Buffalo Radio. 11 o'clock, featuring Sandy Beach, Joey Reynolds, Danny Never, Stan Roberts, and Shane Brother Shane. Welcome back to All Sports Western New York. Bob Kaczynski back on a brand new set. And one of my favorite things coming up next, because last Thursday we were at the Elio DiPaolo 2013 Scholarship Award Banquet. And this year our award winner was Drew Hall from Roy Hart. He's a New York State champ. We also had Chris Sadin from Fredonia. We had Eric Lewandowski from Lancaster, Anthony Liberatore from Williamsville South, and Jude Gardner from Fredonia, all other scholarship winners. Great night. Let's go out to DiPaolo's and talk to the young man who was the 2013 Elio DiPaolo Scholarship winner. Drew, first of all, congratulations. You know, a great career, state championship, and now the DiPaolo Scholarship. Has it sunk in?
Not quite. I still wake up every morning surprised I got it all done from being so far away so many years ago. But I'm truly happy that I took so many sacrifices and decided to make this my life.
You know, last year you took second at the state, so I know this had to be your quest all year to get back and to make it happen.
I most certainly was. I trained more than I've ever trained in my life. Never took a time off at all. It never really, it hurt, but I never really let it affect me. I kind of tried to let it slide off. But going into the state finals, I remember what it felt like. I never wanted that feeling to ever happen again, so couldn't lose again.
Was the DiPaolo Scholarship something you had your eyes set on as well?
My coach had made me aware about it at the beginning of the season, and I always hoped to win it. I didn't know if I would, because I knew that there's a lot of other great competitors in Section 6, but I'm happy I did.
And now you're off to University of Virginia?
Yeah, I'll be attending the University of Virginia in August.
What weight?
I'm recruited at 157 and 165. I'm hoping to get a little bit bigger, but we'll see where I end up.
Dennis, 18 years, hard to imagine that we've been doing this for that many years, but has the significance changed at all for you over the years?
You know, every year it seems to get better and better, Bob. And you know, you've been with us from the very beginning, that this is something that's so special, and we get so much pride into it ourselves to see these young men. And after 18 years, these young men that we've been giving these scholarships to becoming the next leaders, and some of them are on our committee with us and all, and making presentations here tonight. So it's really every year we become more and more, you know, ecstatic about it and proud of what the Elio DiPaolo Scholarship Fund does.
You still have fond memories of that first year when we put this all together?
Hey, the legend is always, who would ever thought that was our Charlie's Angels, and the wrestlers came back, and Bob, and you know that the fun we had doing that, and that because of that and the relationship with the Buffalo Bills, it's been a great thing for our entire community.
And how much money have you put back into the community?
Over $800,000 as of this year, so which has been great. And needless to say, Children's Hospital has been a big recipient during those Legends of Wrestling days, and so many other charities, from the Moving Miracles, Kids Escaping Drugs, and the Center for Handicapped Children. I mean, those are just a few of the many People Inc. that we contribute and help out. And you know, Bob, that we take so much pride in that, and we thank everybody for being part of our family.
And tonight we honor a group of young men who were so close to your father, and that is high school wrestlers.
Oh my gosh, he loved it. He would be so proud just to take a winner and bounce him up and down a couple times and congratulations, kumba, you know. But now to be able to give a scholarship out and an award and a trophy, and the great recognition that you and the media do for these kids, it's an exceptional night.
But you've been around professional sports forever, but you've been involved with this high school scholarship for 18 years. What's the significance of being involved with this?
Well, this is a way to carry on a tradition. We've established it because of Elio. Didn't know what we were doing when we first started out, and 18 years later we're here to honor student athletes of Western New York, obviously through mostly wrestling. But it's a great way to give back to the community, but it's also a great way to see what our youth are turning into these days.
Dennis just told us, you know, $800,000 given back to the community. I don't think any of us thought back when we started this that it would grow this big.
First year we were trying to figure out how we were going to get to year 2, and then we're blessed with the wrestling event at the Odd to have the last event in the Odd. Yes, $800,000 with able to support a lot of different charities, let alone the student athletes of Western New York.
That first year was pretty special, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable. Between tears and anguish and everything else, not knowing what direction we were going, and gosh, to look at it and say, hey, we were able to carry this forward now in our 18th year, but to see what we've been able to accomplish in the name of Ilio, but also to see how the community has rallied behind us to rally behind him.
What about the process of looking through those applications every year and seeing how outstanding these candidates are that we have to basically eliminate and then come up with 5?
Well, tonight I'm lucky enough that I'm presenting to Drew Hall, our 2013 award winner, and to look at him, and we said way back then, what's the criteria? So we wanted to honor Ilio, and we were thinking of academics, we were thinking of wrestling community, and each year we think, oh gosh, are we going to get somebody that measures up to that? And each year we get there and not only meet it, but exceed our expectations. I mean, the accomplishments of these young men, let alone Drew this year, are amazing.
Just a tremendous night, fun had by all. Of course, they feed you well, too. So high school wrestling, one of my all-time favorite sports, and the DePaulo Scholarship Fund, a very worthwhile event. We'll be out there in June for their annual golf outing, and we'll have some exciting highlights to bring you back on that. We'll be back to wrap up All Sports Western New York right after this. And for the latest in all the sports affecting Western New York, go to allsportswny.com, the website that this program is aptly named after. allsportswny.com, and you'll enjoy all that's happening in Western New York. It's time to wrap up our inaugural All Sports Western New York broadcast. I want to thank Fred Jackson once again and all those out at the DePaulo Scholarship. Until next week, this is Bob Kaczynski saying have yourselves a good night and a much better tomorrow.